Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Thank you so much for following along. In this section, we are going to be going over how to set up, how to make sure our box that we are using is a safe one. Because we are dealing with malicious samples here, there we definitely want to one of the most important things is to make sure that our environment is our host base is protected from releasing these malicious samples in our box here. And so in this section, I'm going to show you how to do that, how to isolate your box so that we are basically doing our best to limit the risk to our host system so that we can study these malicious samples and run them and just everything all about safety here. Because think about it like this: these malicious samples are kind of like a deadly a deadly weapon, or a deadly hand grenade. We definitely want to make sure that we are handling these things respectfully and treating them as such. So we want to make sure that our environment is safe for that to detonate these malicious samples. So how we go about doing that in UTM or whatever virtual environment you are using, if you're using UTM, and if you're using others, basically what you want to do is you want to first make sure that your guest is not connected to the network. It's not sharing anything with your host base. So how you do that is you go over here. You see these like little, I call them like Hamburg lines, stacked layers. You go to you. So as you can see, it is connected. This macOS guest, it has network connection. So what I really love about UTM is it's very easy and simple to, pretty straightforward to remove that network so that malware cannot escape and affect our network, our home network, because we definitely don't want these to mess that up. So what we do is we select network and we just hit remove, and voila, bada bing, bada boom. It is not connected to the network. It is totally isolated, so I know it won't escape. And then what we want to go on is here is make sure that nothing is being shared. No directories are being shared. And as we can see, nothing is being shared. So between our host and our guest. So this is good. It's safe to say that this is isolated and it is safe, because bit of disclosure, this video, like, I don't want you to mess up your system or anything, and like messing up the guest is fine, but definitely don't want you to mess up any of your host system, your network, because that would be bad. So we are dealing with very malicious samples, so we want to be respectful and be very cautious and safe. Make sure we're doing safe. So like my first step is I always make sure that it's either in other virtualization environments you're using, it would be called like host based or private section, or like if you put it on like a virtual network or something like that. But I always, just better safe than sorry, I make sure in UTM this is how you isolate it, by not giving it network access. And as you can see, if you add like a network, it's easy to add a network, but we do not want that. So we just select it, remove it, and just make sure that it's not sharing anything. And on this first step, it looks like everything is good, and then you make sure you hit save. So now what I want you to do is I want you to open up your macOS guest, our lab here. Make sure you're not opening up the base one, because then that would suck, because then we'd have to create it all over again. So open up the test one here of our lab environment, and we'll hit enter. And then once you get in, it'll take a second. What I love about UTM is it's free, but yes, it's not as fast as if you were using Parallels, or VMware, but it is, it gets the job done. So what we do now is once everything is loaded and it's, you're in, so we know that we removed it from the network, but to be extra cautious, I'll show you a few little tricks you can do using the terminal, which what you can do, and I'm gonna try to like zoom in here, make this a little bit bigger so you can see. So I want you to open up your terminal, and then what we're gonna do is first, just to like confirm that this cannot reach the network, or it cannot, like, it has a very slim chance of escaping, is we're gonna first ping Google's IP address, or server. So if this is unable to ping it, then that means that this network, doesn't have network access. So let's do ping 8.8.8.8 48s, and what you do is you hit Control C to stop it. And as you can see, 3 packets were transmitted, 0 packets were received, 100% packet loss. This is good sign, which means that, hey, it's not able to reach Google's server IP address. So just to make sure that, like, hey, maybe just to double check, like, okay, well, maybe that might be some kind of thing with the server, but hey, just to make extra safe and cautious, let's just ping Google's domain. So www.google.com, and look at that, cannot resolve unknown host. Well, there we go. So it can't do that. Now, to just be extra safe, you can, within your guest, just to reconfirm. I know it's like, Andrew, you don't need to do this like so many, but I like to, because it's just better to be safe than sorry. I really don't want any malicious samples I'm unleashing in here to reach my environment. I want you to be safe too. I don't want you to mess up your Mac system, and especially your own home network too. So what we're going to do is we go to open up Safari and we hit Google, and look at that. You are not connected to the network. So that, clear as day, we don't have network set connection. So this is good. It's safe to say that we are good to go to continue our analysis, especially with static analysis. You don't necessarily have to worry about that, but with dynamic analysis you definitely will, because dynamic analysis means it's more of like you're actually unleashing it, you are triggering it. So we definitely want our network to be, we don't want it to have network access. We don't want our guests to have network access or anything. So it's safe to say that we are good to go to continue on to the next section. But I always say, another caution thing is, so we know it's not sharing, we know it's not reaching a network. Another good thing you could do is you could ping your own host-based IP address as well. Now, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to share that, but I would suggest that's like maybe like a nice little extra thing you could do. Like you could go into Apple and look up what your own IP address is. I think you can go here to the Apple, you go to system settings, and then you could go to Wi-Fi and network, and then there should be another selection where you could figure out what your own system is, your own IP address. But for now, it's safe to say that our guest is okay to unleash our malwares to continue our analysis. So great job going through this. Again, this section was just more so to highlight, I don't want you to get infected, and don't blame me if you do by not going through all this. If you go through all this and make sure that you are not connected to your network, you're not sharing anything, and your guest is unable to even reach your own IP address of your host-based system, then it's safe to say that it's good. You're good to go to um, carry on with the analysis. So thank you so much for following along so far. This is one of the last videos, and in the next section, we are going to begin our analysis by starting off with, I'm going to take you through the basics of static analysis. Thank you so much. Give yourself a pat on the back. You completed the first section of this course, and I'm so happy to have you in this course, and I'm looking forward to continuing the journey with you and diving deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole of analyzing Mac malware. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next sections. Have a good yeah, let's continue going forward. All right. Thank you. See you in the next section.